Hello, my name is Uldis, and you can start my presentation. So, topic is MikroTik Rotor-OS Wireless and LTE features overview. So, first we'll be talking about your gifts that everyone got in your bags. Then we'll get to the wireless quick guide, how to use wireless with Rotor-OS. Then I will talk about new wireless package, what features we get there. And then I will talk about LTE interface and our new WAP LTE kit that will be available next year. Okay, here we have a WAP board. Everybody that got their bags at our registration table should get such board. It's called WAP, Wall Access Point. It comes in two colors, black and white edition. So if you like better white or black, you can order from your distributors. So what features? What can you do with that? So here are the main features. It has 2-chain wireless radio. It has jack and PoE power options, so you can power it from your adapter, or you can also install it in some remote location and power it by PoE. Also, it supports wide input voltage range from 11 till 57 volts. And as well, it supports passive and active PoE. So it's very universal power. And of course, since it's a small device, it doesn't consume a lot of power, so it has low power consumption, and it can work in high operating temperatures. And of course, it's suitable for indoor and outdoor use. So since it's outdoor use, it's also weatherproof, waterproof case. So here more detailed on the specifications. So it has 650 MHz CPU, 64 MB of RAM, 16 MB of flash storage for Rotor-OS operating system, and has BGN dual-chain wireless radio built-in with built-in antennas, and the antenna gains are 2 dB. And it has one port, 100 megabit Ethernet port. And voltage from 11 to 57 volts. And power consumption only up to 4 watts, so very low. And as in previous slide I told you, it's very good working at higher temperatures, so you can get from minus 40 Celsius to up to plus 70 Celsius degrees. And here you can see the dimensions, but you already can see how small it is. So what are the usage cases? So you're thinking about, where can I use it? So one solution could be you can mount it on the ceiling. There's ceiling cap. You can all the things that you need for this to mount on the ceiling is inside the bag, in that case. So there's place to put a cable. So if you put it on the wall, nobody will see the cable, but it goes straight through that plastic breakout. Other user case is on the wall, as it says wall access point, so you can mount it on the wall. It also comes with all the brackets, screws, and also cable goes through the breakout. So there's even drill template available for you to screw the anchors, so everything is included. When you go home with your router, you can drill some holes into your wall and put your access point to the wall. Also, we have our new WAP AC that you can order from your distributors. So the difference is has higher CPU, and it has 2 wireless interfaces. It has dual-chain BGN, just like regular WAP, but in addition to that, it has also 5 GHz triple-chain AC wireless, so dual concurrent, so you can connect 2.4 and 5.5 gigahertz access point. And the antenna gains are the same, 2 dBi. So, and also, since it's AC standard, it means higher throughput. We also added a gigabit port. So this board has one 1000 gigabit port. And the same voltage also here. But the power consumption is increased to 12 watts because of the additional wireless chipset. Okay, let's talk a little bit about wireless, quick guide. Not everyone is maybe familiar how to use wireless with routers or how to make wireless links. So before talking into more details, at the beginning I want to tell you the frequency limitations. So each time when you install a router or a wireless router, make sure that you follow your country rules. Maybe not everyone is here from India, maybe from other nearby country. Each time when you get a router from different country or from India, you need to make sure that you follow all the rules in your country. So make sure that you have regulatory domain specified. And also, you can also use manual transmit power if you want to lower the output power. Or you have some special license that allows you to use different frequencies. On that wireless chipset, you can use super channel mode. Also, if your government requires that you need to sell only locked devices that they cannot use different frequencies, we also offer such locking option. So you can ask your distributors or ask directly us. We can provide you such packages. So you can lock your boards that they can only be using only specific frequencies from specific countries. Okay, what are the wireless usages? So in the wireless world, there's usually two cases. It's for point-to-point and point-to-multipoint. So let's talk more detail about each of these. So what is point-to-point? Point-to-point connection creates a link between two places. So only between two places. And usually, for such purpose, you use directional antennas to send signal on a narrow beam. So get very good signal. Point-to-multipoint is usually if you are a wireless provider and you want to connect a lot of clients or CPEs to your access point. And there could be like sector or regular omni. So depending on your locations or your requirements, you can use a sector antenna, which covers a small area, or you can use a regular omni antenna, which covers whole 360 degrees. So for directional antenna, so here are the antenna diagrams when you look or our web page or some other antenna manufacturer. So the best what you can get is a very good focused beam, and it has a very great antenna gain. You can get extended distances up to even maybe 50 kilometers, even more. And you get less interference from your other wireless equipments from on your tower or next by towers. So if you want to make point-to-point links with our products, here are some suggestions like Dynadish, LHG, SXT, QRT, and Sextant. So if you planning to make such links, ask your distributor for these devices. Also, we offer antennas, for example, Manta antenna, which is a parabolic dish, 30 dB parabolic dish, if you want to make very long distance links. And it's compatible with our NetMetal, Basebox, Netbox, or any other RP-SMA connector compatible board. We have also made our great selection table. It's available in our routerboard.com webpage. When you click on any routerboard wireless product, you can see it's very hard to see. For example, here we can see for LHG what is the distance between other LHG. It means like for the maximum speed you can get 12 kilometer link. For example, if you want to use Dynadish, you can get for AC speed up to 14 kilometers for maximum data rate. And if you use N data rates, you can get even to 45 kilometer theoretical link. So if you're not sure what is the right distance or what is the right device for you, you can open up this comparison table and see which device suits the best for you. Also, for sector antennas, it has more specific angle, covers a little bit more area than directional antennas, and which allows you to connect multiple clients to the sector antennas. So you can connect any SXT or to this. Also, for such, you can see the antenna diagrams. Usually looks like for sector antennas. And if you plan to get sector access point from you, we could recommend you SXT SA5 or SXT SA-AC or new MANBOX series, 15S or 90S. Of course, if you would like to use some other board, we also offer our point-to-multipoint antennas, like same antennas like in MANBOX, but just the antennas. So you can get MAN 15S or 19S, and you can attach it to NetMetal, Basebox, Netbox, or any other board. Also for sector antennas, we have made our comparison table. Here you can see our MANBOX 19 on one side. If it's in a sector AP, you can see what kind of CPE you want to connect and what distance and what speed you could get from such a link. For example, for LHG, you can get like 8-kilometer link and get the maximum data rate. And for example, for Dynadish, if you want to use AC standard, it's 8 kilometers for the maximum data rate. And if you want to use N data rate, you can get even up to 20 kilometers. So if you're planning to put sector AP, for example, MANBOX 19, here's a good table. How can you select which CP is more suitable for you? Those both pictures, those comparison tables are available on our Routerboard webpage, so you can check it out. And the last part is if you want to make full access point or regular access point, it's Omni antenna. It covers 360 degrees, so usually put it on the mast or on some pole to cover all. It allows to connect clients from any direction, but usually the disadvantage is that antenna gain is not so high, and it also receives interference from other devices. So it depends on your needs and your setups. If you plan to use Omni devices, usually we can recommend RB Groove or RB Metal or Omnitic. Those are our access point Omni devices. And of course, all our home and office wireless devices like VAP, VAP board, HAP, all those boards are considered omnidirectional access points. You can also make your access point using our integrated router boards and just use your own made or bought integrated solution case and put your own Omni antenna. It's all possible. So here a little bit about station mode, how when you got your hardware equipment, how can you interconnect each of this setup? So here we're talking about the station, CPE mode. So you can have regular station mode, create point-to-point link. So for here we can you're using 10.0.0 network. It means our access point network. And on the client, on CPE side, we use their local network. So each client, like such CP, will have their different networks. Another location, if you want to make a transparent bridge to have the same network on both sides, so connecting two offices maybe together, they want to share the same network. So you can use station bridge. Or you can also want to consider sometimes station WDS, it's same like station bridge. The only difference is that in addition to station bridge, you need to create WDS interfaces. But for start, I would recommend to use station bridge if you just want to make pure point-to-point link. For access point modes, there's also 3 options. For point-to-point mode, there's mode bridge, which is available on all wireless equipment that we sell, even on the boards that have level 3 license, for example, SXT Lite 5 or LSG, they don't have an access point license, but they have a level 3 license, which can support bridge mode, so it means you can interconnect two such devices. So if you have a access point, you want to connect more clients, you need the level 4 license. So, and for that, you need AP bridge mode. And if you want to interconnect multiple access points, like make a kind of mesh network, you can have a WDS slave mode. You have a master AP and you have WDS slave, and then you have clients that are interconnecting to that. So as I told you, here's the requirements for AP, it's level 4, and for just bridging, it's level 3. And for station, only the requirement is level 3. So router to be as a station, here's all the requirements that usually you need to do. You need to connect to your access point, you need to configure security profiles, if there is such. So authentication mode, key, VPA key or some pre-sharded key. And configure wireless settings like station mode, frequency, band, SSID. Or you can also skip this part. If you're a little bit lazy, you want to do it automatically, you can use wireless scan feature. So what does wireless scan feature do? Wireless scan feature can be found in the Winbox, console, or Webfig. Under wireless interface, click scanner, select which interface to use for the scan, and click start. Then you select from the list that this wireless interface found, select the best access point or your desired access point where you want to connect, and just click connect. It will automatically set that band, SSID, and will automatically connect to that access point. Also, you can create access point using QuickSet if you want to also easy to configure that. For example, your WAL access point, your WAP boards that you have in your boxes has a QuickSet enabled. When you first time connect to it, you will see the QuickSet. So you'll have such menu. So you'll have a network name, frequency, band, country. You can specify your own wireless security profiles there. After that, everything, you can see all your clients that are connected to your access point. You can see, measure all of them. And of course, you can see all the information from your Ethernet side, what IP address you got from the internet. And of course, you can specify some other things like local access point IP addresses, or to use masquerading or not to use. Sometimes if you start to debugging or you want to find the best frequency, sometimes very hard because there's a lot of interference nowadays in networks, even in hotel or in like apartment buildings. So that's why you need to find the best frequency to use for your access point. So there are a few tools that you can use. One tool is frequency usage. You click on the frequency usage, select interface, and click start. And then you monitor your whole range and check the usage in percentage, which channel is most used. So in this picture you can see that upper channels are not so used, so the best what we could do, we can use 2.462 megahertz. It's the best, less used frequency. Of course, sometimes in that frequency usage, you see everything is empty. Okay, let's use that frequency. But sometimes there are some proprietary protocols that is not seen by the frequency usage. That's why you can use spectral scan feature from the console and like use your wireless card like spectral analyzer. So you can see, run that tool, and you can see like in the dots here for each frequency, or like a graphical interface. So red means it's bad, green is better, so you can see all that values. Of course, you can also use the diode and to connect to your access point and run the spectral scan directly from the dude, so you don't even need to connect to your each router. You just specify on the interface of the access point, set device on which frequency you want to do spectral scan, click start, and you see the same like in the previous slide, but only with a better graphical interface. After you have selected the best frequency, now you need to check your throughput speeds. How to test throughput? So the best way how to test throughput is, for example, our built-in bandwidth tester. The only suggestion is that is when you use bandwidth tester, we suggest to test bandwidth not just between the devices, but through the devices. Because if you test the bandwidth between the devices, the CPU is used a lot and could not indicate the real-world situation. So here, for example, you're running bandwidth test, you're getting like 180 megabits in each direction. So when we start doing the bandwidth testing, we can choose each frequency and then just write down the numbers like transmit speed, receive speed, CCQ, transmit CCQ, and then make such table. And after that, we can compare which frequency is the best. So looking for this example, looks like those green ones are the best frequencies. So somewhere in there, we could make our access point. Also, we have a wireless snooper. If you want to monitor what's going on your air, or maybe on your neighbor's access point, you open up a wireless snooper tool and click start, and it will monitor all the wireless interface, similar like scan, but also shows all the wireless clients that are connected to each access point, even if the signals and even if the speed. So you can monitor or check what's happening on your network or maybe your neighbor's network, and then compare results or do some analysis on that. Of course, if you are more into like analyzing a more detailed, you want to see what exactly is happening or why sometimes it's happening, you can use wireless sniffer. You can sniff all the wireless traffic. I don't want to talk why would you want to do that, but we have just made the tool. So you can do the sniff, click on wireless sniffer, start, and then you can see all the packets that are sniffed on there. You can see all the beacons, what MAC addresses ever used. So everything that is on the air you will see here. And you can even real-time send it to some network management tools like EtherReal for debugging purposes. Okay, let's talk about some new features that appeared in the new wireless package. Here it says wireless package or wireless rep or wireless repeater package. If you're already using our router OS and you know that we have a release candidate channel, it means that you already know that in version 6.37 we'll have only one wireless package, which will be wireless repeater. It will call just wireless. So no CM2, no FP, just wireless now. So what are the differences and changes in this package? So here's all the overview, what features you are getting when you will upgrade to this version or install this package if you are using some older. So here are all the features now. Let's talk more detailed about each feature. So why it's called wireless rep? It's called, that's why, because it's a repeater, wireless repeater. That's where the name comes from. So what is a repeater function? Repeater function is similar like you were doing previously with two wireless interfaces. You're doing one interface for getting uplink from the internet and second interface to share internet to your local network. Now, this feature could be done on one physical wireless interface. So actually what it does, it receives signal from your AP and repeats the same signal to the same physical interface through our virtual interface. So looks like the microphone is dead already, that one. Okay, let's continue. So you can use the same physical interface for that. So what actually this repeater setup does? So actually when you run the repeater setup, it does the following 4 steps. First, it configures the wireless interface to connect to your access point, to your main AP. Then it creates virtual AP where you will be connecting your clients. Then it creates bridge interface, and after that it adds both physical and virtual interface into the bridge, and you get a perfect repeater setup. So next feature is background scan. It's supported only for 802.11 wireless protocol. So why would you need background scan? Sometimes if you have a connection to access point or your access point, you want to see which frequency is better, but you don't want to lose the connectivity that you already have. So now you can run background scan. What it does is actually when you're connected to access point, it tells access point, okay, I'm doing background scan, let's wait for me. I'll just quickly scan and then return back to you. So when you do the background scan, your network communication is not interrupted. But there's some conditions applies for you. So the wireless interface should be enabled. If it's not enabled, you need to use active scan, like not background scan. Then if you want to run background scan on AP, the background scan will be doing only on that fixed channel that AP is selected. So you will only see the access points only in the same frequencies where the access point is. And for the station modes, it will be working only when the station mode is connected to some AP. If it's only in scanning mode, you will not be able to do that. Also, it's possible to do that on the virtual interfaces as well. So if you have like setup from previous slide, you can also do background scan on this as well. So virtual wireless interfaces. This feature is used for the repeater setup. So, but you can also create virtual interfaces manually, as many as you like. Also supported only for 802.11 protocol. So previously you could make virtual AP interfaces, and now you can make virtual station interfaces. And you can add them to the same physical interfaces. So now you can create a station interface that connects to 2 access points at the same time, but the problem is it should be the same frequency. Also for our home access points, we also have created wireless VPS client support. For example, if you want to use your device to connect to some other access point, which has a VPS button, you press that button on that access point, and after that, you click VPS client on our device, a button or like a software button. It will make a setup for all this. So actually it gets information from a VPS server. You can now even specify from which server depending on SSID or MAC address. If you don't want to connect some any access points that in your neighborhood, only your specific. Of course, we have new features for our wireless scanning. We have a lot of requests from previous years that you want to analyze signal from your station side. So we have now background scan. But since it is working only for 802.11 protocol, we made like a workaround for you. We made a scan to file option. So now what you can do, you can execute such feature. It will disconnect from your link. If you use active scan, but it will still save the results into file, and after that come back. Of course, you can use it for background scan as well. So now you can do such scans periodically, maybe on each your location, compare which access point is maybe not using the best frequency. Also, since regular scan goes in continuous way, we can add a round setting. It means you can tell how many rounds or times you want to scan the same interfaces. So it's very useful for remote scans. You can make maybe periodical scan once per day for each of your CP and compare results. And if one client starts reporting, I have some problems, you can compare the results from that day and previous day and see if there's some other nearby access point running the same frequency, and then you can start dealing with this problem. Also, we have added scanless step feature to ease up your configuration or your customs configuration. Previously, if you wanted to do scan list from 5500 to 5700, you use 20 megahertz step, you need to enter such a long line. It's sometimes very hard, or if you are doing console or some slow network, it's very hard. So now you can do the same, just like adding here, specifying the range and the step. So if you want to use step 20, it's his. If you want to use step 10, you just specify that. It will automatically, in background, use that long line. But you don't need to write that long line. It will use this one. OK, station roaming support. We have also a lot of requests for some mobile applications or warehouses, so some kind of robots that are moving, or some pallets or some stuff. So we have made station roaming support for our wireless clients that are running 8.2.11 protocol. So while connected to the AP, client automatically is checking if there's a nearby AP that has a better signal, and if there's signal found, it will automatically roam to that one. So also we have our dynamic algorithms that checks if the signal is very good. The checking for the AP will be less frequent, but if the signal gets worse, we'll do more aggressive scanning and looking for new access point. Also, we have a lot of requests that you want to disable legacy B clients to get more throughput from your access points. So we added a new band called GN, and you can see the specifications that it supports from 6 to 54. Or all the N rates, and it doesn't support any B rates. So now, if you want to force your clients to throw out your old B devices or do not use those data rates, you can use this band now. Also, we have added few settings for Capsman. There were a lot of requests for Capsman to add the features, custom features like distance, hardware retries, disconnect timeout. Now, if you have running Capsman and you're lacking those features, now those features are available in the new wireless package. And of course, we added data rate support. So now if you have a Capsman system, you can configure all the data rates now just like for regular access point. Also, in version 6.7, we have changes for the DFS setting. We have redesigned this DFS mode setting, which makes this setting unnecessary. So the setting will be removed. So actually, how does it work? For example, now by default, all the setting will be set to radar detect. So there's two options. First, if your country requires DFS, you need to look into this. If your country doesn't require DFS for 5 GHz, you will not see any difference. So if you select frequencies that requires DFS, before using that frequency, it will do a radar detect. Usually it's 1 minute, depending on the frequency. And after that 1 minute, if the radar is not found, it will start operating on that frequency. If the radar is found, it will check a new frequency and start look for radars there. If you select frequencies that is not in the DFS range, it will just start working there. So that's why we made it like this. And since the new packages are only new one wireless package in 637 and called only wireless without any repeater, so upgrading from older Rotorus versions should be noted that you should make sure that you have only one wireless package enabled, or you use bundle package. If you use bundle package, you don't need to worry, just upgrade your router. But if you have installed the separate packages or multiple wireless packages, one package is disabled, then you need to uninstall the disabled package and leave only one wireless enabled package, and only then upgrade to the newest version. Otherwise, if you will not follow this, you could lose your wireless configuration, and you would need to reconfigure your wireless interface again. Okay, let's talk a bit about LTE interface. Now LTE is becoming more popular, and I think also in India it's getting more and more popular. So I wanted also to talk about LTE interface. So router supports two kind of LTE or 3G cards. We have PPP emulation and Ethernet emulation driver. So there are two differences. PPP emulation has speed limit of approximately 25 megabits per second, and Ethernet emulation doesn't have such limits. So if you have a LTE modem that is supported in RotorOS, if it's PPP, it's emulation, it will be a new PPP interface. If it's LTE interface, it will show under interface LTE section. So if you have a LTE modem that you would like us to support, you can email to support@microtik.com. We'll review that modem and check if we can add support for that modem. Usually we can easily add support for PPP emulation for those modems. But Ethernet emulation requires a lot of work on sometimes special driver, and not every time we can do that. But you can always ask us, maybe there is a way. Also, LTE configuration depends on the LTE modem as well. For example, there could be some LTE modem that could actually like a big router inside the LTE modem, like Huawei devices, for example. Some of them, they have web interface that that you need to connect to get to the internet. So actually, in the routers, you will see the LTE interface. You get an IP address. You think, oh, let's go to the internet. But actually, you need to connect to that default gateway IP, and you will see the modem configuration. And after that, in that web page, you need to configure all the APN things. Only then you will get to the internet. Or other modems, they have the direct configuration in the LTE interface menu. So there's also two options how to get an IP address from LTE interface. Usually, most of the LTE modems get IP address from the DHCP client. So when you see an LTE interface appearing in the RotorOS, you just go to the IP DHCP client and add a new entry and specify LTE interface. And also there's exceptions like, for example, our SXT LTE modem which doesn't require DHCP client, as it does automatically that in the Ethernet emulation driver. So actually, that configuration is done on the LTE interface. That just opens up LTE interface. You can specify the or DNS server. And also, SXT LTE also supports IP version 6 on the LTE interface. I don't know how common here in India it is, but in Europe they're getting more popular. Also in version 6.37 we added support for SMS for LTE modems. Previously it was only for PPP modems. Now, using this feature, you can send custom status messages from the modem, or you can even send from your phone to your router's modem interface and execute some script or do some advanced commands or schedule scripts. But there are some limitations and requirements. So if you want to send and receive SMS, the LTE interface should be connected and working. So it means it cannot be disabled. It needs to be connected to the LTE network to receive and send such messages. And limitations that it supports only GSM7 encoding. So no like emoji smileys there. Okay, and the last part in this presentation is about a WAP LTE kit that Sergey has already discussed in the first slide. This is our new board kit. It looks the same like as a WAP, like here and like this. It has a WAP R2ND board with case. It has mini PCI LTE modem card inside, and it has two LTE antennas built in the case for LTE modem. So here you can see our first prototype. It looks like this, the same board like a WAP. It has a desktop stand you can put. And if later after the presentation, I can show you on the table. You will see just like here on this in the picture, it has Ethernet, two antennas, and also space for SIM slot. And okay, so here you can see the board picture, how it looks like, just like a regular WAP board. It has two wireless antennas, and it has place for the Mini PCI Express LTE modem here. So basically, WAP board plus Mini PCI Express slot. So features are similar to WAP, a WAP board. It has two chain wireless radio, but additionally it has a Mini PCI slot for wireless radio or LTE modem. So actually, you can also put a wireless card inside. So you can choose if you want to put a wireless card or LTE. But WAP LTE kit will have a LTE inside. It has SIM slot for LTE modem, and it has two integrated antennas for the LTE interface. So it's all complete solution. You just need a SIM card. It will have a jack powering option and PoE. And the first board that will have automotive power option, 4-pin automotive power option. So you can put it in a bus or in a car. Also supports PoE, low power consumption, and it's very suitable for indoor, outdoor, or mobile operations. So you can put in trains, boats, cars, taxis, and it has also waterproof case design. So on the specification, it's almost the same like for regular WAP, like 650 MHz CPU, same size of RAM and flash, same wireless. But it has additional one Mini PCI Express slot for wireless or LTE modem. With our kit will populate that slot with LTE modem. And it has LTE antennas, two pieces. And the gain varies from 2 dBi till 4.4 dBi, depending on the frequency range, if it's lower end or higher frequency range. The voltage is not like up to 57 volts like for regular WAP. It's only for 11 till 30 volts. And power consumption is only up to 7 watts. So there are a few differences. So usage cases for mobile, you can put it in like car or a bus or moving bus. So now you don't need to put a regular router with some external USB modem. You can put good good solution, because it will have all just like regular WAP. It calls all this cable breakout and all this drill templates. You can also put it on the wall just like regular. Put it some office wall or maybe outside of some building or some pole. And of course, our new, as I told you, our new table mounting will have also this. You can put it on your table in the office and get a good connection to your LTE provider. Also, here you can see in our wiki page which supported hardware, which LTE modems will be supported. Our product WAP LTE kit will have a Mini PCI Express modem and antenna inside, but the LTE modem will be different depending on the region where you are located, because in each region the band settings for LTE are different, and it's very hard to make a module that it works everywhere in every corner of the world. There are few bands that are overlapping, but usually we'll have a specific modem for a specific region. So if you want specific region or specific band, email us. We'll check if we can get you such modem. And of course, you can also, instead of our modem, you can put your own mini PCI Express LTE modem inside. If you have some modems that it's not supported in the RotorOS, you can email us. We'll check how hard it is to add support for that. Okay, thank you. So if you have some information you want to get from us about WAP LTE kit, you can talk to us at the registration table. Okay, thank you.